I was feeling terrible. If you can imagine, my legs had been crushed. I was just fighting for my life. I felt really groggy, so much pain. And it's around that time when the surgeon was doing his rounds, he came over to my bed and he said, "Mr. Judge, we managed to save both of your legs, but I'm afraid with the severity of the injuries that you've sustained, there's a good chance that you may never walk again. And even if you want to run a business and you want to be a managing director or whatever, well, at some point you're going to have to understand money and how that works. And that comes down to maths. So let's look at maths at school. How are you doing at maths? All these little things will add up to the big thing." So
welcome to the brand new School Speakers podcast. My name is Haroon Rabbani. I'm a schools motivational speaker. I speak elsewhere. But one of the things I want to do is share with you, the students or the teachers or parents, people who are looking after young people, nurturing them. We want to share with you ideas, strategies, ways you can raise aspiration, build confidence, transform the lives of young people. The reality is people talk about the children are our future. Well, what are we doing about it besides the education system, which is obviously a prescribed system? What can we do to transform the lives of those people who really want to make a difference with their life? So I have with me today an amazing guest. We'll talk much more about him. His name is Steve Judge, author of this brilliant book called Go. We'll talk about that shortly. And Steve, let's hit the ground running. How is it that whilst on one hand, some students do well, say some, on the other, many students are struggling to achieve what they deserve to get?
oh my goodness, that's a big question, Haran, straight in there. Many answers, I guess. I mean, from my understanding, I think one of the biggest things is probably belief in themselves, being allowed to believe in themselves, to be allowed to have that vision, to be allowed to have that goal. And I think that comes from the influences from the people around them. That could be from their friends, their family, maybe even from the teachers, from education. At what point do the people around them say, yes, do you know what? Maybe you will become a vet, a surgeon, a doctor, a footballer. Yes, maybe you will become a YouTuber, an influencer. No matter how crazy it may sound, who is saying yes to them? I think a lot of people are saying, no, don't be silly. You're crazy. You'll never do that. Let's just keep it, normal, and drift through life almost like flatlining through life. And I think that's the thing that's probably preventing some people to exceeding or just fulfilling their potential. Everyone's got potential, especially the young generation. They're so young. They've got so much life ahead of them. Anything could happen at the age of 10, 15, even 18. They're just starting off. And so it's very strange for anybody to say, no, you won't do that. Who do they know? What do they know? So I think that's probably one of the biggest things, biggest influences. And one of the things that I like to do is saying yes. I'm not a teacher. I'm usually going into schools and I do my keynote, do my workshops. And I'm the person that says, do you know what? Maybe you will be. It's up to you, of course. There's only so much I can do. But because of my journey, because of my story, I've achieved amazing things where people said to me, you're never going to be able to do that, or you might not be able to do that. And I had that inner belief in myself, and I carried on and I achieved. So now that I've achieved in my life, I believe that others can achieve in their life if they're just given those opportunities. And I say given those opportunities, I do believe that opportunities are around us all the time. It's about hearing them, seeing them, smelling them, and then having the confidence to grab hold of them and do something about it and make it happen, take action. And I think that's one of the biggest influences.
So a lot of people do say that they don't have any opportunities. And I hear these things. Oh, he was so lucky. He's always at the right place at the right time. And the reality is, I heard this years ago, a couple of decades ago, that we are always at the right place at the right time. But we're so busy focusing and, well, not even focusing, being distracted by everything else. And if we are working hard, we've got our nose to the grindstone and not noticing anything that's going around us. Now, you also mentioned about the self-belief, and we'll delve a lot into that. Now, what I've spent, as well as speak at schools, work with young people, I've spent a large part of my life working in the health arena. Here's what I found with people with diabetes and many other long-last diseases, chronic diseases they're called, is this, that one of the common denominators across the board is their loss of self-belief. They've lost belief in themselves. So you mentioned yourself, you achieved some great stuff. Tell me a bit about your background. When you were at school, where did you grow up? What were your struggles? Because, a lot of students are struggling. Let's see if they can perhaps relate to you.
Crikey. When I was at school, so I'd always consider myself very average. Didn't really stand out. I love doing the things that I love doing, of course. So that was running. I loved running. I loved sports. I loved PE when that came around. That's where I excelled. I was also good at a few other subjects like maths. Wasn't that good at English. But craft design and technology. I loved that. And I made a chessboard. So I was very practical with my hands. So when I left school, one of the things I did, well, what I did as a job was I worked down the coal pits. So I got an apprenticeship. I was working down the coal pit, using my hands as an engineer, constantly be given problems and having to find solutions. And that came from my craft design technology at school. Keeping fit and healthy, like I said, running. I also did a lot of scouting, so I like the outside, walking and doing lots of activities, stuff with my family. But yeah, generally those things. But I think with even a bit at school, but maybe the scouting more so, was in scouting. I like the badges, the badges that you get down your arm in scouting. And I used to be that scout that used to take the badge book home, and I used to look through the badge book as to see which badge I wanted next. And then I'd go and ask for help from my mum, my dad, or the scout leader, of course, and they would help me to work towards that badge so that I could earn it. Looking back on it, I guess I was setting a foundation of setting goals and working towards them. Every single one of those badges was a vision. Oh, I want that. I want to be able to do what I need to do to get that badge. And then, setting that journey out, just a little one, to go and achieve it. So doing that at school with the GCSEs, doing that in scouting with the badges, with my running, maybe a few personal bests here and there. So in a way, in a small way, always setting goals and always working towards them bit by bit.
So, and that's what I'm hearing, is the fact that you had all these little goals that were accumulating to create some massive results. So where do students, young people, where do they struggle with their goals, or what do they struggle with? And perhaps maybe in terms of teachers, parents helping them to set goals, where's the big struggle? Where are the obstacles?
So for my philosophy, it's very much, as I mentioned this earlier about saying the yes thing. So yes, if you want to be a doctor, a surgeon, or a vet, or a footballer, okay, let's say yes to that. So let's back it up now. So what do we have to do to achieve that? And that's where the little goals come in. I've done some sessions where somebody says, I want to be a Hollywood actor. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's amazing. So, do you do acting at the moment? Are you in like a drama class, a drama school? And they go, no. And I'm like, well, okay, so how are you going to become a Hollywood actor if you're not even doing drama? Or they say, I want to be a footballer and earn lots of money. I said, yeah, awesome, great. So do you play in a football team at the weekend or something? And they go, no, I don't. I play at lunchtime in the playground. I'm like, okay, you might want to start doing a little bit more than just playing at lunchtime. It's about setting those small goals now for the things that you love doing. Absolutely. But let's start those small goals now. And even if you want to run a business and you want to be a managing director or whatever, well, at some point you're going to have to understand money and how that works. And that comes down to maths. So let's look at maths at school. How are you doing at maths? All these little things will add up to the big things. So by saying yes to the big things, you then back it up and say, so what do we need to do now, today, this week, this month? What do we
So,
need to do?
so instead of being in this dreamland where you have that dream, actually do something today. Don't wait for tomorrow, because that, first of all, tomorrow might never come. It's a
Yeah.
particular goal, you might change it. It's interesting you say that, because in the world, or in the corporate world, when they are hiring people and they're looking for the new manager from a department, they don't. I think the mistake I've certainly made, where you expect to be promoted, but you're not thinking and behaving like a manager would. So what they would do is look at someone and say, right, this person's already behaving like that. We'll just give them a bit more responsibility, a bit more money, and get them working at a different level.
Yes.
So live and breathe what you want to be, but from where you are right now. You became a motivational speaker, but surely you didn't jump from school to motivational speaker. What happened in between?
Oh my goodness. Okay, take a seat. So yeah, it's a long journey. So I was working down the coal pits. They closed down. Traveled around the world. Came back, earning as I traveled. So it was a challenge. I was working then in quality, and basically I was driving on the outskirts of Sheffield, where I live. I had a near fatal car accident. Now that car accident, I nearly died, near fatal. They mercy dashed me to the nearest hospital in Sheffield. They took me into the operating theatre to save my life. When I came to, after 8.5 hours of being operated on, I was feeling terrible. If you can imagine, my legs had been crushed. I was just fighting for my life. I felt really groggy, so much pain. And it's around that time when the surgeon was doing his rounds, he came over to my bed and he said, "Mr. Judge, we managed to save both of your legs, but I'm afraid with the severity of the injuries that you've sustained, there's a good chance that you may never walk again." Now, to me, that's a bit of a turning point in my life, in my journey. And there was two ways I could have looked at it. I could have just rolled over in bed and just say, "Okay, I give in. I guess I'll never walk again." Or I felt really angry, to be honest. I felt really angry that somebody had the audacity to say that to me. And I guess this is the fight, out of fight or flight. This is where I said, I will show you. And it wasn't like a Rocky montage where I jumped out of bed and started doing rehab and physio. I was still trying to survive, just trying to eat, just trying to drink. But I really, really, really wanted to stand again, to walk again. Those are my goals. And to be told that, I might not be able to, angered something inside me, almost like a red rag to a bull, like somebody saying, "You won't be able to achieve." I wanted to rebel with that. Now, I understand that some people will just roll over in bed and go, "Okay, well maybe I won't then," especially if somebody's telling you, who you trust, like a surgeon or teacher or your boss or even your parents. You go, "Okay, well maybe they know better than me." But sometimes that's not what makes people different. Sometimes is that thing inside, and especially if it's something that you really, really want. And to survive, really want to do that. To stand, to walk again, your health, of course, I really wanted to do that. Now I'm going to whiz through this journey because basically I went through rehabilitation, through physio. I grew my leg back by 4 inches. I learned to stand again. I learned to walk again, and I achieved over about 3-year period. Managed to, now by the end of that, I did have disability in both my legs, still do have disability, massive pain, especially my right ankle. But I kind of wanted to make sure that the accident hadn't had a detrimental effect on my life. And so I was using a bit of that anger still. So I was still setting goals, physical goals about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. And this is a big message that I share, especially to new generation, to schools, primary schools, secondary, high schools, is that I'd learned that I was very different to what I was before the accident. Therefore, my goal of getting back to normal didn't exist. There is no such thing as normal. So the message is to stop comparing yourself to other people, to your friends, to your family, to your colleagues, to celebrities. Everybody's different. And I had to start thinking about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do in this new body that I had. So I started doing swimming, very much upper body. My legs just dragged. But I did that. I got into a bike, started cycling, eventually got into this thing called para triathlon, swimming, cycling, and running for disabled people, which I could participate in. This is very much about your mindset. Being disabled, yes, bad for me in comparison. However, not the end of the world, because now I can compete as a para triathlete. So I trained and I competed. This was like 7.5 years after the accident. And in my category, in my first race, I won and I became British champion. And we talked about opportunities earlier on. This is a massive opportunity because they said, "Steve, would you like to represent Great Britain?" And I said, "Hell yeah, I would love to represent Great Britain." So I grabbed that opportunity, both hands. And now I'm working in construction, health and safety. I've got a family with 2 kids, and now I'm competing as an elite athlete. I set my goals again, as you can imagine, to become British champion, European champion, all the way up. I wanted to become a world champion. That took me all the way to Beijing 2011, competed against the rest of the world, and I crossed the finish line as a gold medal world champion. And the feeling of crossing that finish line, obviously amazing, excitement, but a massive relief. And that's quite emotional. Relief of everything that I've been through. It was not an easy journey. It was challenging. Rehabilitation, elite athlete, training, 6 days a week, etc. I won't go into it now, but that relief comes through of I've done it. I've done, and not only that, a bit of because I was still angry about the accident that happened all those years ago. And now I was moving away from that. And that to me was really important. So yes, that's the journey, an inspiring journey. But now I wanted to do something with that journey. I wanted to give back. And so I wanted to share it, and I shared it with schools and started doing it with businesses. And I thought, I love this. It's a bit of a rock star status in a way, you know, getting standing ovation, but helping people as well, you know, empowering people to achieve the life that they want to live. And so I've been doing that for the last 7 years, and I absolutely love it, helping people to, you know, excel and kind of unlock their power of potential so that they can achieve their dreams. And that's where I am today, you know, speaking to you about, you know, how I can inspire and empower even more people to do what they really want to do so they're not flatlining through life. That's pretty much my journey.
It's interesting that the term flatlining through life has been used by yourself so many times. And I think that is a big issue because a lot of people, when they look to achieve normal, they only achieve normal, meaning average at best. And the reality is, our brains like a challenge. I mean, your story is absolutely phenomenal. Now, for me, there's various mantras I've used across my life to get me motivated, keep me on track. Is there any particular quote that you use, any kind of mantras that you use to keep you going?
Oh, so many. So many. I have a wall downstairs and I write, it's a white wall, and I write with a black Sharpie, and I'm not the best speller. So I always check and double check, and I write on the wall. So there's loads of ones. But okay, one special one. Do you know, it's the one that started my book, and I think it ties in really nicely with what we're talking about. And it's hell on earth is. So hell on earth is getting to the end of your days and meeting the person that you could have become. Now then, I heard this. My business coach said it to me, and I went through it. Hell on earth is getting to the end of your days and meeting the person that you could have become. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't accept this. He said, tell me more. I said, well, when I get to the end of my days, the person that I could have become will be the loser, the waste of space, the person that didn't do all the things. They sat on their ass and, you know, watched Netflix and drank too much and ate too much, and they didn't exceed, they flatlined through life, which is what we're talking about. I said, I will not be that person. I want to be the person that's achieved already. As a 2 times world champion, an author and a speaker, I'm already achieving, and I want to do more, you know. So I don't understand. I don't get it. And he says, Steve, I understand. He says, the thing is that 80% of people will accept that quote. 80% of people will get to the end of their days and go, oh, okay, this is the end of my days. Do you know what? I regret not spending time with my family, not fulfilling my dreams, eating too much, not being fit, not being healthy. Oh my goodness. I said, hold on a minute. So you're telling me that people, they know this, and they're almost planning to have regrets. They're planning to have regrets. And I think that doesn't make sense. He says, that's just how it is, Steve. And I said, and that kind of angers me, frustrates me. And so I want to do something about it. I think that's where my philosophy comes as a global speaker, running the workshop, doing the book, is getting the stuff out of my head that I know how to achieve. I just want to help other people to achieve. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, but that's my challenge. And so that quote really encourages me every day to what I ask my question to myself: what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do to help these people so that they're not planning to have regrets at the end of the days? They can get to the end of the day, their days, and go, oh my goodness, I'm exhausted. You know, I've not achieved everything, but you know what? I've got no regrets. I've blitzed it every day, 24 hours. And I'm not saying exhausting themselves, but just fulfilled their dreams or done as much as they can to work towards them. So I think that quote really fulfills me and helps me, you know, concentrate on what I want to do.
What made you want to become a motivational speaker?
Oh, it's the questions that people ask me. I think when I retired from international competition, people said, you know, what's next? It's always the question, Steve, what's next? There's always something. What's next? And I said, look, I've taken so much. People have helped me. I want to give something back. And one of the first things I did was I went back to scouting. So I'm now a Cub Scout leader. I'm also the president of Derbyshire Scouts. So I'm now helping the new generation to get those badges down their arm with fun, challenge, adventure, life skills and opportunities. And I love that. But more as a business, you know, I remember standing there almost like a Superman pose. I was like, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. And they're like, oh, wow, Steve, that sounds incredible. How are you going to do that? And I was still in the pose. I was like, I haven't got a clue. I had no idea how I was going to do it. A bit like, you know, school kids, they don't know how they're going to achieve it. But I knew by that stage that if I wanted something enough, then I would make it happen. And I was really passionate about this happening. So that's when I joined the Professional Speakers Association. I started doing the small gigs. I started, you know, to speak more, you need to speak more. So you're
Yeah.
just grabbing all those opportunities, every single one of them, and you're growing bit by bit. The best way to excel in your business as a motivational speaker or any kind of a professional speaker is word of mouth, and that takes ages. I'm so impatient, as you might have gathered. So word of mouth takes ages to travel. You can have a good website and a logo and testimonials and a show wall, and you need all of those. But people aren't really going to book you unless somebody says, "I've heard them. They are good. You should
Mm.
book them." And that's word of mouth. So yeah, I'm on that journey. 7 years so far, and it's going well. It's going in the right direction, but I'm not there yet.
How do you help other people, particularly young people, which is who we're really speaking to or with, is how do you empower young people to achieve better in their life?
So when I do my presentation, my keynote, it's very much, I don't like telling people what to do because people rebel when you tell them what to do. So I just talk about myself and I talk about what I did. And so there's one thing that the main thing that I would share with anybody if they really want to achieve something in their life, whatever that is where the focus goes, the energy flows. So focus on what you want to achieve, visualize what you want to achieve. And I know that's difficult with some people, not for me. I'm a visionary, that's fine. Other people do struggle with that. So I have this exercise. And when I was in hospital, so again, this is my journey. When I was in hospital, I drew a picture of what I wanted to achieve. Let me hold it. I've got it here. So this is like a copy of what I did. So you might be able to see that with the camera. I'll explain it. It's me stood up a mountain, crutches thrown to one side, standing again and walking again. When I saw that, I got excited and I thought, that's what I want to do. As an elite athlete, I drew a picture of me crossing the finish line with my GB kit on, and the crowd going crazy. I saw that in my mind. I wanted it. I trained swimming, cycling, running all day, every day, 6 days a week. As a speaker, I drew another picture of where I was to where I wanted to be on the big stage, on the big lights, the big audience, and one of those head mics. Those pictures really helped me to focus on what I wanted to achieve rather than what I wanted to avoid. A lot of people in this life, they focus on what they want to achieve, what they want to avoid. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to have no job. And because they focus on that, that's where the energy will flow, and they will achieve that. Sadly, you need to just twist that round, and it's not that difficult. Just change it to, I want to be successful. I want to have a great job. I want to, be friends with lots of people. I want to be happy. I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. Focus on what you want to achieve. Draw a picture of what you want to achieve. Think about it. Talk about it with your friends, your family, people that will support you. And the more you do that, the more you'll go. You talked about it earlier about, seeing those things, those opportunities. That's about programming your RAS without getting too complicated. This little filter in the back of your head that helps you see those things. We all see the same things, but we don't take the same information in unless you're focusing on what you want to achieve. So make sure you get that sorted right. So yeah, the kids in the schools, obviously, you might have gathered, they draw a picture. They draw a picture of what they want and put color into it and put detail into it and stand up and talk about it. If I can encourage them, give them some presentation skills, and now they're sharing it with like their classmates, maybe even the whole school. This is what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be this. Why I'm going to be this because of this and that and the other. And they get excited. And those people, those students that do stand up, that have the confidence to stand up, in heart of hearts, I believe that they will achieve that, because if they've got the bottle, the confidence to stand up there and say it, I think they've already started their journey, and it's an exciting thing to see. I love it.
A lot of young people, we all did to some degree. In fact, we all went through some kind of trauma, some kind of negative experiences, and actually wrote about it recently, which is adverse childhood experiences. It has a significant impact on the mental, physical, spiritual health, emotional health later in life. Young people tend to get it quite hard because, truth be told, nobody really has a great role model for a parent. We all have to learn it on our own. We do it as we going along. So we raise our children the way we want to. Teachers do their best, but despite all of that, stuff still happens. So you've been through some pretty harrowing experiences, to be honest, compared to the average Joe or Josephine. How do young people become more emotionally resilient?
Resilience. There's that word, isn't it? I think we all heard that word resilience through the pandemic a lot. You need to be resilient, and it was written. A lot of people said, "What is this resilience? I want it, but what is it?" And I said, "Look, I've been through resilience. I know what it is." And they said, "What is it?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I do now." So what I call it the wave of resilience. And what it means is you go down and then you go up again. And let me explain the stages. You start off just going through life, everything's okay, and then something happens, some adversity, some change, something you weren't expecting, and immediately you'll go into denial. You go, surely this can't be happening. I don't believe it. And then you realize it actually is. So your testosterone will kick in first, and then you realize it is happening, and you'll start coming down. And that's quite scary. Initially, you'll be really angry. You go through the angry phase. Now, when I say you'll be angry, what I mean by that is you must allow yourself to be angry, because if you hold it inside and go, no, I'm fine, you're still in the denial, and you need to travel down this wave of resilience. So be angry, do whatever, control it though. So the gym work is good, or sport is really good to get rid of that testosterone. Gardening might be, maybe go for a walk, maybe scream, maybe shout in a controlled environment, because again, if you don't, then it will burst out. And you might upset people that you don't actually want to upset. So by controlling your anger, getting it out is a good thing. Now, after that, it's still going down, I'm afraid, is the sharing. How are you sharing how you feel? Are you talking to people about it? Not everybody likes to talk to people, but it could be a therapist, a coach, a friend, a teacher, somebody that you trust, that you can share it to. Like I said, not everybody likes to talk to people. So are you talking to yourself? Are you getting it out of yourself? Are you writing a journal? Are you listening to music that you can relate to? Oh my gosh, these lyrics, the music, the words, it's just what I'm going through. This is great. So now you're sharing a poem, anything like that. Get it out and share it. Now you've come all the way down, and I'm afraid you're at rock bottom now. Whatever you do, you're at rock bottom, which is a dark place. This could be sadness, could be sulking, could be depression. And how long you stay in this dark period depends on how you've controlled the anger and the sharing. But there's good news. So after the rock bottom comes the form of acceptance. So now you're going to accept the situation. And once you accept the situation, serotonin is released, and you can start thinking clearly. And when you can start thinking clearly, you can take action. I love this bit, because now you can take action about what you need to do. As you take action, the dopamine is released. Oh my goodness, this is great. And because of that, you'll do more and more and more. And this will now start lifting you up all the way up to the new level, to boss level. Now, what you'll realize is as you go down through the wave of resilience, you'll actually end up on a higher plane than where you started, as long as you've done everything correctly and not quashed it or anything like that, meaning that change, adversity, things that you weren't expecting can actually be a good thing, as long as you ride the wave of resilience and become a winner. Not an easy thing to do. And I think through the pandemic, some people got halfway down and then they collapsed and they were kind of back at the start again. So again, you do it over and over again. And this is what I've done throughout my life to get things sorted. So yeah, that's what I would say, the wave of resilience.
It reminds me of the time I used to teach Kung Fu. So I started learning Kung Fu from the age of 14. And I started teaching young people, and then later on adults as well. Here's what I found, that when someone joins martial arts and they want to get competitive, they will put all the energy into it, and they will keep on increasing. So they have a steep learning curve and improvement curve, and then suddenly they flatline. Here's what I found, that most people, they flatline for a little while and then they give up. It's like, I'm going to change my focus to somewhere else. But those who just continue that extra bit more, and usually everyone's away from that tipping point, things ever change. All of a sudden, they start growing again. And it's the same here. Is what I'm hearing you say regarding emotional challenges, resilience, is action. Is take action, be patient, and then learn to sit back. But what I'm not hearing, which is I agree with, by the way, don't get over analytical about your emotions. Yes, write it down, get it out. But if you stay trying to get everything perfect in your head before you take action, you'll actually possibly feel worse. Nothing really good will happen. So your work that you do at schools is very much about play by the sounds of it. So someone's got started. They've got this vision. What next?
Crikey. So yeah, they've got the golden vision, I would say. And when I say your golden vision, because you're all working towards your goals, that thing that you really want. Your gold for me is an acronym for your goal, your opportunity, your love, your dream. What is that thing? Gold, of course, the book Gold. So to unlock the power of your potential, what is it? And to find gold, it's like a treasure map. I love treasure maps. I love adventure and things like that. So the treasure map takes you through the 5 winning ways. The first one is your golden vision. Know what you want. Okay, you're on your journey. The next one is your golden soul. Why? Deep down, why do you want this? You know, when I was going through rehabilitation, to stand, to walk again, my health, absolutely, you can understand why I wanted that. As an elite athlete, I had the opportunity to represent Great Britain and potentially become a world champion. Of course, I'm going to grab that. I was very excited about that. Now, as a speaker, to inspire, to change people's lives, of course, I love that. So that's my golden soul. What's yours? Why would it be? Why do you want that gold so much? Knuckle down and work out what you want and why you want it. Now, the next one is your golden gear. So all the things that you need, all the gear that you need to get there. And like I said, I've said it already on this session, is just one question 3 times. What more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? The answers, a lot of the answers are inside yourself. You know what you got to do. You've got to Google it, YouTube it. You've got to ask people, ask for help sometimes. Maybe that's what you need to do. If you're at school, you ask the teachers, the lecturers, you ask people that have got more knowledge than you on how to get there. And if they haven't got the knowledge, you find somebody else. And when I say find somebody else, that brings us on to the next one, your golden gang. At some point, you've got to realize that you can't do this thing alone. That's what I realized. I had the NHS on my side in the hospital. I had, so many people helping me as an elite athlete, and now my business. I know people see me on the stage, but there's so many people that help me, my business coach, my website, my accountant, my graphic designer, so many people that help me, my golden gang. Yeah, everybody, I've met, and I continue to meet people like yourself, Ran. It's incredible. And I collect them as my golden gang is ever increasing. Now, the last one is your golden hour. I'm afraid you're going to have to put a deadline on this, because when we've got a deadline, then we work towards it. So what does that mean? And what I mean is, I don't want to scare you, as in like by the end of this month, by the end of this year. Let's think big first. So usually your goal is quite a big thing. So you want it in 5 years or even 10 years time. That's fine. So 5 years time, you want to be there. So where are you going to be in 4 years time? Where are you going to be 3 years, 2 years? Where do you need to be at the end of this year to get the 5-year goal? At the end of this month, week, today. So what are you going to do today to get you to that 5-year goal? And it's just breaking it down. We've mentioned it before, bit by bit, small chunks, bite-sized chunks to actually achieve the thing that you want. So they're the 5 winning ways that will eventually take you to achieve your goal.
We talk about achieving this long-term goal. So if you're competing in the Olympics, you're looking for the gold medal, of course, preferably, otherwise silver or bronze. We're looking at that, but that might be far away for most people. Even someone doing a GCSE exam 6 months from now, or A levels, that actually might feel like quite far away. Is there any way you can measure how you're performing on a day-by-day basis?
I think one of the things, and you're talking about, kids going through their GCSEs, and my daughter's doing her GCSEs this year, and she's gone to a few sixth form places and colleges and other schools, and she's found a really nice one. And she says, do you know what, to get in that one, my grades are going to have to be a certain level. I'm going to have to work quite hard to get them. And I'm thinking inside, oh my gosh, she's got a goal. She's got a goal. And that's going to really help her go through her revision. Having that focus as in why do you need good results? Why do you need GCSEs or A levels? Where are you going with them? Is it a university? Is it so setting those small goals? But to quantify your question, I feel that at the end of the day, it's just one question that you've got to ask yourself, and that is, any regrets? And it's all about living life with no regrets, getting to the end of each day and saying, how's today gone? Have I got any regrets? I know what I should have done. And I mean regrets in everything, not just your education or your studies or your revision. For me, for work, it's about your health, your well-being, talking to people. Did you phone your mum? Did you go for a walk? Did you get any fresh air today? Did you eat healthy? How many glasses of wine did you have? Was it 1? Was it 2? And sometimes you get it wrong. Sometimes you spend a bit too much time on social media because it drags you in. And sometimes you have too much to drink or too much to eat. And that's okay. Let's call that a blip. And maybe, on that day you say, do you know what? I've got a few regrets. Okay, well, let's learn from this, because the best days are when you ask yourself, any regrets? And you go, do you know what? It's been an absolute awesome day. I've got the balance really right. I did that revision. I did all the homework. I played with my friends. I did chill out a little bit, on TikTok and stuff like that, but not too long. I dragged myself away from it. And I've got the balance completely right. And look at the time. I'm even going to bed on time. and I'm shattered. What a great day. And they're the best days. And it's all about asking yourself to have more of those days. So the question is to ask yourself, any regrets at the end of the day?
So you mentioned the RAS, the RAS,
Yep.
and you use that for focus. Tell our listeners, our viewers, what that means, the reticular activating system, and how it helps.
Okay, so I knew nothing about this when I was drawing the pictures in the hospital and as an elite athlete. It was only a couple of years ago. Somebody said, "Do you know what? You were speaking to your RAS," and I was like, "What is that? What's your RAS? RAS." He says your reticular activating system. I said, "Okay, what is that?" So what it is like a filter in the back of your head, and every day you get like 20 million pieces of information coming into your brain every single day: sights, sounds, smells, touch, all sorts of things. Now, some things your subconscious picks up on all of it. That's a lot of information, but your conscious just picks up on the things that you want, and you can program your RAS to pick up on those things. So if as a motivational speaker, I'm always looking for gigs and things like that. And when I meet somebody that might potentially have a gig, then I'm going to focus on that. But if it was for you, if you're thinking about, I don't know, say you're thinking about buying your first car and you're thinking about buying a red Audi, okay, and you've looked at the magazine, you go, oh, that's a nice red Audi. The next time you're on the road, you'll probably see a lot of red Audis because you've programmed your RAS without even thinking about it. You're seeing those things. Or if you want to be a footballer, then, as you go through your daily life, you'll see more about football. You'll hear about it on the radio and the TV and on the social media. And you go, okay. And you'll use this word quite a lot. What a coincidence. No, it's not a coincidence. It's because you programmed your RAS. So what I'm saying is be careful on what you program your RAS to receive. So this is why, by drawing a picture, by getting visualization and looking at that every single day, reminding yourself, so what is my focus? So where am I going on my journey? What do I want to achieve? Whether it's, your school, for your GCSEs, or for your future, if you want to get an apprenticeship or university, or even your goal, your job that you want to get, or even your first car, how you're going to get there. By programming your RAS, then you'll start taking yourself on that journey towards those things. You will see those coincidences more and more and more, and that will help you. Again, where the focus goes, the energy flows. Just remember that.
So the reticular activating system is like us taking a sniper shot, where it will be ultra focused towards what you choose to focus on, preferably
Yes.
positive.
Yeah.
And if any other way is really like a scattergun approach, you'll hit so many targets, but you'll also miss so many targets as well. So such a beautiful
Oh,
explanation.
that's a really good explanation. I heard this the other day, and I love this as well. Imagine a downhill skier, and they're going down, and then they go through the woods, and there's lots of trees, and the ski track is through the trees. What they're saying to themselves is, look for the space, look for the space, look for the space, look for the space. Because if they say, watch out for the tree, watch out for the tree, watch out for the tree, they're going to hit a tree. As simple as that. So they don't say tree, tree, tree. They go space, 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 space. They survive. So think about that as you're going through your life. What are you focusing on that you want to achieve? What journey, what path are you taking? Not the other stuff. Don't think about that.
This is what I love about martial arts over trees, actually, because in martial arts you're competing. If you're focusing on anything else, in fact, if you're not even present, even if you're thinking of the future, you get hit in the face, punched, kicked in the face. So we can draw loads and loads of analogies. So we've talked about emotional resilience. That's one thing. What about, how do you stay positive about something that you haven't done before? Because if you've done it before, you don't need positivity. You've just done it before. You just go ahead and repeat, rinse and repeat. How do you stay positive, given I know how many challenges a professional speaker has, a sports person has, as much as yourself, because we go through the same thing, right?
Yeah.
How do you stay positive on top of things?
That is a good question, because I'm all about the positive, aren't I? To focus on the positive. And it's like saying, what? So there's no negatives in your world? Oh my goodness, there's so many. And like you said, as a professional speaker, one of the negatives is turning up and going, right, so where am I? So let's have a look at the tech. Where do we plug in? Where's the slides? What's the audience like? There's so many unknowns until you get there. And I must admit, I'm a very confident person, but I have fears, I guess, and those would be the negatives. So this is what I do. I use this term. I use the concept neg-med. Neg-med stands for negative meditation. And what I do is I close my eyes and I think about all the things that make me nervous, that I'm scared about, all the things that are negative, so negative meditation. So all the things that make me nervous, then I open my eyes, write those things down, and then I sort them out. I deal with them one by one. Okay, let's go back to me. So as a speaker, I'm worried about where the location is. So let's Google Earth it. Let's find out where it is. If I can check it out, a week before, whatever, even better. I'm worried about getting there on time because I do not want to let the client down. Right, let's get there early. Let's get there 2 hours early. Let's stay the night before if necessary. What about the tech? Well, let's get there early and check the tech out. Let's rehearse. Let's rehearse everything so we know. Let's get all your props. Let's pack your bag the night before. I feel so much better because I've got rid of all the negative. Now I can concentrate on the positives. So on everybody else's journey, on the student's journey, there's going to be some negatives, some things that they're worried about. So let's express those. So what are you nervous about? What makes you anxious? And let's talk about those. Let's get those things sorted out. Then we can move on. So it is because a lot of people say, oh, la 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 la. Let's not talk about those. Let's not think about those. You're just quashing it, and eventually it's going to eat you up inside, and that's really bad. And then it will explode, like with anxiety and mental health and things like that. So sort that stuff out. Go through the wave of resilience. I know you're going out your comfort zone. We all do it sometimes. So you go through the denial, the anger, the sharing, the rock bottom, then acceptance and taking action. What are you going to do about it? Let's sort it out. So that's how I do it. Neg-med. There you go.
Neg-med. That's amazing because a lot of people who are positive thinkers, they are all about rah, rah, rah. Let's focus on the positive. No, we don't want to talk about the negative. So it actually sounds very similar what you do to what students go through. All the anxieties, the worries. So really what you're telling me is you are planning, preparing, planning for in case the worst happens, preparing, what if it does actually happen? Well, how do I react? And actually practicing it. And so planning, preparing, practicing, which I've just made up, by the way, not those words, I've not invented the words, but those 3 words are actually brilliant because it means that if students are worried about their exam results or a job interview, plan for the worst situation, prepare to deal with it. If you have that, how do you react to that? And then practice what you can. So if it's an exam, practice the exam paper. If you're stuck, go to a tutor. Beautiful. I'm loving this interview, by the way.
No, it's really good. As an elite athlete, one of the things I did was I did that neg-med. As in, what if I'm swimming in the World Championships? What if my goggles leak? What do I do? Do I carry on swimming? Do I take them off? Do I put them on my head? I don't know. I'm a bit anxious now. So next time I'd go swimming in the middle of the lake, I'd make my goggles leak and deal with it. And eventually I got it right. Eventually that I learned that if they leaked, I couldn't get rid of the water. I would literally throw them off or put them around my neck, because if I put them up here, the stream would actually fill my eyes. Not good. What if my chain came off? What would I do? How quickly could I get off my bike, put the chain back on? What if I got a puncture? Oh my goodness. So all of these scenarios, I would go out and I would practice. I would practice changing my inner tube on the side of the road. I don't want to wait until I've got a puncture to make sure I knew how to do it. No, I was pretty good at all of that. But it meant that when I got to the start line, and that could be your exam, as you're entering the exam, I was stood on the start line going, bring it on. I am so ready for this. I'm so equipped. I've focused on everything. I've swam in the lake already. I've cycled around the cycle route. I know that. I know where the run route is. I've checked all my equipment out. If something goes wrong, I'm ready for that. Let's bring it on. And I want the students to be like that. When they've got something big coming up, I want them to get to that start line, that exam, whatever, saying, bring it on. If you get into the start line, I did used to hear this from some of the other athletes. They'd say, oh, do you know what? I should have done more swimming training. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's too late. We're just about to set off. Now, if you'd said that 3 months ago, we could do something about it. And it's the same with students. If they turn up to an exam and they go, do you know what? I wish I'd done more revision. Oh, you muppet, because it's too late. We're just about to do it. If you say that 3 months ago, I need to do more revision. Okay, let's crack on. Let's make a plan and revise, so that when you get to the exam, you go, I am exhausted, as in I couldn't revise anymore. I've done so much revision. It's all in my head. I've had some rest days as well, but I'm ready. There's nothing more. Is that no regrets thing again? I'm here. I'm ready to crack on. Let's go for it. And that's what a lovely, positive attitude to be in. And that's what I want to help students with.
So it's okay for you to be a muppet if you're a student, as long as it's 3 months in advance of the actual
And
answer.
admit
Just
it. Yes, we all make mistakes. We're not perfect. None of us are perfect. Admit it. Do something about it. It's almost the neg med. I'm a muppet. Right. Let's sort that out. So I'm not a muppet.
okay. So achievements. When you go for big achievements, is it a matter of luck? Is it a matter of karma, or is there more to it?
Oh, luck. Oh, you're so lucky. Yeah, no, it's nothing to do with luck. You make your own luck. My dad used to say that. Let's say luck and karma, they're very similar things. Listen, I got this coin around my neck, and I don't really talk about it loads, but it's a Goen. It's a 5 yen coin from Japan. There's a long story behind it, but basically I got given it to me in Australia. The guy gave it to me, says it's called a 5 yen. It's a 5 yen coin. It's called a Goen. Goen stands for good karma. He says by getting this coin, it will bring you good karma, good luck, but only if you're aware of your vision and you seize opportunities. Every day I'm aware of my vision and I seize those opportunities. We've talked about that already, about having your golden vision, about grabbing those opportunities. You make your own luck. Don't just sit there and just think that everything's going to come to you. You've got to take some action. We've talked about action already. So what are you doing about that? How are you bringing that good karma, that good luck to yourself? How are you creating that? And that's what I talk about, getting that good karma, that good luck by being aware of what you need to do and the action that you need to do towards it. So no, there is no such thing as good luck. It kind of, you might have figured, it kind of angers me a little bit when people, oh, you're so lucky, and you're just like, you have no idea. And I think this is the thing, when I talk on the stage, people hear me for 45 minutes, they think they know my story, and they go, wow, that's amazing. You've had a few lows, you've heard 45 minutes of it. That's all you've heard. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I wrote my autobiography. My autobiography was Don't Lean on Your Excuses. And that's like 100 pages. So 100,000 words, that's it. Because I wanted to get everything out. I wanted to get all the lows. I wanted people to understand how challenging my journey had been. I'm not trying to bring people into doom and gloom. I just want people to understand that things have been really tough and challenging. And this is what I did about it. And this is how I achieved. And this is how you can achieve. That's why I wrote it. And it's very important that people understand that they can't just hang on to luck. They've got to make their own luck. So that's what I would say.
You mentioned don't lean into excuses. Explain that terminology and how can our students, our teachers, our parents apply that into their lives?
Right. This is a phrase that I use a lot. It's almost like my phrase. So when I was going through rehabilitation, I had this big metal cage on my leg. I wanted to go on the exercise bike, and the physio said, you can't do that, Steve. You've got a big metal cage on your leg. When you're cycling around, the metal cage is going to clash. And I said, good point. I don't want to do that. But when I got home, I had this exercise bike at home. And I thought, as an engineer, I must be able to do something to get me on the bike. I really want to get on that. I want to do some exercise. Physio is boring and painful, monotonous. I want to do something that got my heart beating a little bit more. So I took myself out to the garage, using my crutches, wheelchair. I made myself a big wooden pedal for this bike with Velcro straps on it. So I put the wooden pedal onto the exercise bike. Basically, it pushed my leg out by about 2 inches. It was like 5 centimeters. So now my cage, metal cage, was clear of the bike, and I could sit on that bike and I could pedal. And as I pedaled, oh my goodness, it's probably the first time I smiled in a long time, since the accident had happened. And I got some adrenaline, some endorphin release. I was getting hot and sweaty in a good way. And I started to smile, and it was just amazing. And I look back at that time, that action that I took, and I thought, they told me that I couldn't do that. And I saw that not as a fact, but almost as an excuse. And so I turned that excuse into a challenge. And this is what I share with other people. The next time somebody tells you that you can't do something, is that true? Or is that an excuse? Or next time you tell yourself that you can't do something, is that true? Or is that an excuse that you're leaning on? And if you are leaning on that excuse, I'd encourage you to turn that excuse into a challenge and go forward and take action and move forward, working towards your goal in your life, your goal, your opportunity, your love, and your dream.
We can choose to be like victims of circumstance. But as long as we're the victim of circumstance, we can never be the master of the dance. As long as we're the victims, we can never take the lead in our own life. And the reality is, yes, of course, we are victims because of circumstances, but it's what are you going to do about it? And for anybody thinking, oh no, that's too harsh, that's too harsh advice. That's reality.
Yeah.
That is reality. It's not a matter of survival of the fittest. It's about if you can choose mediocrity and you can live there. And I understand because somebody might be depressed, for example,
Hmm.
and you can say, okay, they're depressed, they need to be on antidepressants. Maybe they're depressed because they're not getting enough sleep. Maybe they're depressed because their gut biome is shot to pieces, I should say, because they're eating crap. So instead of playing the victim, find a creative solution out. And like you mentioned, Steve, earlier, so important. Don't try to do this on your own. Surround yourself with people who support you. Surround yourself with a team. So, a few more quick questions before we finish this episode. And thank you so much, by the way. This is absolutely amazing. And we've only met them once. We've had a brief conversation since then. So, and the more I'm getting to know you, the more I want to get to know you. So, let's talk about you and your younger version of you. If you could go back in time and talk to the 7-year-old version of Steve, what's one short piece of advice you would tell him?
Crikey, that's a bit deep, isn't it? So 7-year-old me, I was probably running. I was probably involved in scouting around that time. I was loving life. So I would say to my younger version, the words that keep coming into my head are keep going. Don't don't ever stop. Don't ever quit. Don't ever stop fighting. There's going to be some tough times coming up, young lad. But don't stop. Just keep moving forward. Find out what you really want, what you passionately really want, and keep going for that. And as a 7-year-old, it might be just toys and sweets and a bit of money at that stage. But as you go through life, the things get more serious and more. You should be more passionate about those things. Find that thing that really gets inside you. That thing that gets you excited. That thing that you're almost nervous about talking to other people about because it might be a bit embarrassing or even crazy. But if it gets you going, then you should keep doing that. That thing that will get you out of bed at 5:30 in the morning. That I would say is your gold. And that's the thing that you should work towards. So don't ever stop.
Okay, so we haven't finished yet. What about that extremely important age between 12 and 13? Could be 12 or 13. What's one very simple either affirmation or advice you would have given to 12 or 13-year-old Steve?
Oh, I think I was getting quite competitive around that time. So, okay, this is coming to my head. And this, if you want to achieve and you want to achieve big, it's know your enemy. And that's it. If you want to be competitive, know who your competition is. See what they're doing. And what are they doing? Can you mirror it? Can you do even better than what they're doing? Do some research. Just if you're just doing all the stuff that you think is necessary, then you're only going to get so far. You need to look at other people. Other people are doing the same thing, whether that's at school. How are they doing their homework? How are they doing their studying? Where are they doing like night classes or anything like that? If you want to be the same as them or even better than them, then maybe you should look at your competition, your enemy. Enemy sounds quite a harsh word, but you can twist that around to however you want, what you want. I guess I think about that when I was as an elite athlete. I would check my competition out so much. I would know how fast they were in the swim, the bike, the run. When I got out of the swim, I needed to see who was in front of me, who was behind me, as to gauge myself as to where I was in the field. And now, as a speaker, I want those gigs. I want those speaking gigs. What are the other speakers doing? Do I know what they're doing? What's their website looks like? How are they doing their lead generation? What's their social media post looking like? So yeah, know your enemy, I would say to my younger self.
Brilliant. I love it. I love that competitive nature, by the way. The competition. I think you and I should be speaking on stage because we'll be competing with each other. Okay, so what's one piece of advice you wish a school teacher told you at any point of your time, university, college, doesn't matter. What's one piece of advice you wish your teachers had told you?
Oh my goodness. There's one teacher that stood out that was really good. So it's kind of twisting your question around, and that was in craft design and technology. And I was building this chessboard, which I've already mentioned. And every lesson, I'd get all the pieces of wood out and lay them out, and that was it. And then start chatting with my mate next door. And eventually, the teacher came over and he said, "What are we doing with this?" I said, "Well, I need to put it all together." But I knew that once I put it together with the wood joints and the glue, that was it. That was permanent. And I didn't want to take that big step. And so I just like laid it out every day or every lesson. And he just said to me, come on, Judge, let's get on with it. And we got on with it, and we stuck it together, and then we sanded it down, and we took action. And that to me is, Mr. Roberts was his name, and it still inspires me today. Yeah, as in, come on, Judge, let's get on with it. So I think I'd like more teachers to do that, to say that. Clearly he knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to produce a chessboard. Okay, so he said, let's get on with it. What about the other teachers? What did they know me? Did they know what I wanted to achieve the maths for, or the English for, or the geography for, the physics for? I don't know. But if they'd known why, if they'd known that I wanted to be an engineer, maybe they would have said, do you know what, Mr. Judge? Let's get on with it. Let's get that. Let's have a look at your revision plan. And can I help you in any way so you can get on with it and get those grades? So I think I would have wanted that more from the other teachers, a bit more passion from them. There you go.
Love it. And then finally, your parents, when you're going through childhood, what's one thing your parents, you wish you, and this is being totally respectful to your parents, of course, you and me here. What's one thing you wish they would have done or said? And we're not here to bash parents, by the way. One thing that you think, I wish a bit more of this.
My father passed away in 1998, and we're a very loving family. I've got a brother, 2 sisters, my mum, and we've done lots of things together. We used to love barbecues and being outside, camping, and all sorts of things like that. And we're the kind of family that we don't need to go around and say I love you and hug and stuff. It's a given. And we just spend time with each other, and there's never any arguments. We never fall out. It's just lovely. Just, when I meet up with them, and I don't see them very often, maybe once or twice a year sometimes now, or even 3 times maybe. But one thing I do regret, and I guess this will pass back, is when my dad did pass away in 1998, I did go and see him. He was on his deathbed at his house, my mum and dad's house. He died of cancer. So it was like a 7-year slog. With highs and lows, and this time, and he'd had many low times, and this to me was just another low time. And me being positive mindset, always optimistic, I thought, okay, well, he's just going to get through this again, isn't he? So on that last time that I saw him, we had a chat, and he said to me, Steve, just keep doing what you're doing. They were the words that he said to me, and I said, yeah, sure, I will. I was very flippant about it. But the one thing that I never said on that last time was, I love you, Dad. And I think, I wish that my mum and dad had encouraged me to say that more often, because sometimes you don't know when the last time you're going to see your loved ones is. And so if I'd said it on that time, then I would have, said it for the last time, and that would have been great. So I wish my mum and dad had encouraged me to do that more.
And so, as you can see, we've come from all sorts of angles, for the student, from teachers, from parents. And it's so important that whatever role you're playing in the life of young people, or you are that young person, there's always an opportunity to even do that much better, no matter how much you achieve. Sometimes we do have some regrets, and it doesn't have to be like earth shattering, but still, for someone, what you've just said is extremely profound. Now, let's leave on a positive note. I mean, not that this wasn't positive. Let's leave on one more positive note. Is there one message you want to share with somebody who is watching this, a young person who has a big dream? What's one short, very short, brief message you want to share with them to achieve their dream?
Get a pen and paper. Just draw that vision. Come on, just do it now. Whatever it is, get a scrap of paper and just draw it. And I'd encourage you to put you in that picture as well. Your brain is very fickle. If it doesn't see you in that picture, it doesn't think that it's real. It doesn't believe it. So if you've got long hair or glasses or the kind of clothes that you wear or the kind of things that you do, draw a picture, and don't say that you can't draw. Don't lean on your excuses. We're talking stick people here. You want to be alive in the future. You want to be happy. Draw that. Who's around you? What are you doing? What makes you happy? What do you want to be in the future, 5 years, 10 years time? Draw that image and stick it up somewhere. If you're really brave, you'll even take a photo of it on your phone, and you put it as a screensaver. And then you'll see it like 100 times a day, and that will really help your RAS to open up. But if not, just stick it somewhere where you're going to see it. Maybe in the bathroom, at least you'll see it twice a day, hopefully, when you clean your teeth, because you should be cleaning them twice a day. But anywhere, just grab the pen after you've listened to this and just draw a picture of what you want. That's what my recommendation would be.